3, 2, 1.
What's up, Inside the 20 people? We're back and we're ready to talk about football, and more football. Not
You
really.
actually did it.
I did actually do it. I told you I would. So
That's true.
we're coming back stronger than ever, and I'm gonna send it over to Ryan since he doesn't talk very much, and I'm gonna let him talk.
All right.
I'm gonna let him talk about what we got coming up.
Oh God, way to put me on the spot. I just drank like a gallon of water before we started. All right. What do you want me to start with, Drew? Come on, give me something.
Go ahead and tell the fans about what we've got coming up. What we're gonna what our aim is with the channel. I know I kind of touched on it in the video for the rebrand, but kind of tell us like what we're planning on doing, as well as like the days we plan on getting stuff out on, as well as what the content we want to get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, as you can see, we're virtual for the first time, I think, ever. Yeah, we're not in person. We started at my house, which is crazy. And then we moved to the camera with my laptop and then your laptop. And now we're virtual, which is something we never thought of, which I guess would have been way easier. We're filming these Wednesday nights, unless we're not free on Wednesday. We'll film them a day before or a day after. We'll get the full podcast out as soon as possible. And then throughout the week, we'll have episodes of like the segments come out. Because there's some people that like the full podcast when they're like driving or something. And then there's people that'll like the faster paced content. Drew, I'll let you touch on how Instagram and our other social media is going to work.
Sure. So like Ryan said, we're going to kind of have the podcast come out. We're going to film the podcast one night, Wednesday night, and get out segments throughout the week, as well as release the full podcast on Thursday. But those segments will have more highlights, more things like that, whereas the Thursday one will be just the podcast, just us talking about what we're talking about, really without any edits or anything. However, the segments, like I said, will have highlights, we'll have graphics and various things like that, and that's why Ethan is here to help us. And Instagram will be kind of the same way. It'll be kind of built like, as you see, like First Take and those kind of shows that ESPN does. They'll put it on the reels and stuff of Stephen A. Smith's stupid takes, and they'll put them on the reels, and but also have his 7-8 minute clips on YouTube, and then you can also go to ESPN and watch the full video, kind of like that. So our Instagram will have the graphics like he used to, but also have kind of show as well. And we also want to try eventually, maybe not yet, eventually we want to have some gaming content too, because Ryan and I playing video games together is really funny. And
because I'm better.
No, actually, yeah. So we're trying to be more casual here, as you can see. We want to get you guys connected with us. I know originally we started as a podcast. It's really not a podcast now. It's more of a YouTube channel. But we're still kind of in a podcast format to where we just talk about various topics, and rather than having like a normal YouTuber having content, it's more of just streamlined talking and things like that. Obviously, it's more casual. We're gonna have some laughs, things like that. Me and Ryan debating is really funny, apparently, according to all our friends, and so we definitely want to have a lot of that in here as well. And I think that's all I have for the future plans. And now I want to talk about something stupid, and that's the All-Star game. So I'm gonna talk about what I think needs to change in the All-Star game for the NBA, NHL, and this Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is the worst. The Pro Bowl is the worst culprit of this, and that is that no one ever takes it seriously, including the players or the coaches. No one takes it seriously. It's not a serious game. Not saying it has to be, but if it's not going to be serious, then don't make it serious. I had a buddy tell me earlier, the Pro Bowl needs to be a 7-on-7 game between the offense and the defense, or something of that sort. Get those linemen in there, make them get some big man plays. It doesn't need to be a game where it definitely looks like a joke. Like, I get you're not trying to get injured. Then play 7-on-7, play flag football. That would be cool. You're playing flag football with pads on. What's the point? And also, on top of that, you got to stop the fan voting, because you have Andrew Wiggins starting in the NBA, and that's dumb. Like, I give him his credit. He's an all-star, but he needs to ride the bench for the majority of the game. Like, he's not a starter. I don't think dude scored a point. Anyway, All-Star game is dumb. Ryan, give me your take on it.
Well, for the NFL, I agree with you because it's
Not
just
for
so
the NBA?
stupid to see. I think it's fine for the NBA and the NHL because they're in the middle of a season, and you obviously don't want to risk getting hurt in the middle of the season and then cost your team in the end. So, I guess for that it makes sense. But in the NFL, you've got nothing to lose. You've got what?
Most of them are already not in the playoffs. Like
8
if you're
months
in the
off?
play,
Exactly.
yeah, if you're in the playoffs, you're not in the pro. Like you don't go to the Pro Bowl. Like you get selected, but you don't go. Also, like the selection method for all of them, actually, all of them, the selection method is very weak. And originally, I had a segment planned for why someone else besides Steph Curry should have been the MVP. But I think like the more I thought about it, I was like, there's literally no one I could have done besides Steph Curry. Joel Embiid was dominant, but I mean, Steph Curry is just a different level. He has 16 threes or 15 threes, something crazy like that, like a record like All-Star game points. He definitely deserved MVP of that game. Steph Curry is a monster. He's a top 5 or top 10 player ever, top point guard ever, et cetera, et cetera. We are witnessing history, but he is also in a shooting slump. So like you take wins a lot. But on to that MVP conversation. Let's talk about the regular season MVP. Who is your regular season MVP right now, Ryan?
You want a biased opinion or an unbiased opinion?
Oh my god!
I know who he's
So
gonna say.
the
DeMar
biased,
DeRozan.
but the biased opinion is still a fair opinion. So go ahead.
But I think right now my biased opinion would be DeMar. Obviously, he's on a tear. Before the All-Star break, he was the February Player of the Week for for the conference. Yeah, he was dropping 40 points every single game this week, and it's crazy to see like the Bulls go out and pick up DeMar, everyone else, but like DeMar has played in almost every game. He hasn't been injured like to an extent this season, whereas Levine's missed some games, Vooch has missed games, Lonzo's missed games. DeMar has been there consistently and he's performed consistently. So I think
I like that take. I do like that take, and I think that if you're speaking on most valuable player to his team, DeMar is definitely probably the one because, like you said, there's so many injuries and they're still atop the East. But personally, I take an unbiased approach, but also a realistic approach. Joel Embiid. He's averaging the most points in the league as a big man. On top of that, dude is playing stellar defense, putting up 50-point games. He's not missing games this season as much as he's used to. And he's elevating his team, much like you said DeMar was. Except Joel, I feel like, is a better scorer, especially at the 5, where at this point in time, that is seemingly impressive. With that, I think there are some other candidates that could be in factor. Again, Jokic. The Joker is definitely another candidate who could win a back-to-back. Giannis is another candidate. Giannis is literally the Greek freak. He is probably, in my opinion, the best player in the NBA. There are a lot of guys that you can argue are the most valuable player to their team. DeMar DeRozan is probably the biggest example of, if he won the award, would be the truest to it. But if we're going by what people have won it with years prior, i.e. Jokic, Giannis back-to-back, Steph Curry, guys that are obviously not the most valuable part of their team, but also, do provide a lot of value. They're superstars, and they're averaging tons of points, tons of rebounds, tons of assists, blah, blah, blah. And if you notice, for the last few years, it's been big men. And that's pretty cool to see. There was a while there in the stretch of a decade or two where it was seemingly usually point guards or LeBron James, whatever he is. But now we're seeing a lot of big men winning the award, and I think that's pretty neat to see. So let's go ahead and segue into another NBA topic, which is current matchups if the playoffs started today. Now, we can go ahead and start with the play-in, if you'd like. So, Ryan, if we go to the East, because obviously you're a Bulls fan, so you can comment on the East and the landscape of the East. If we're looking at the East right now, the NBA standings, you can see that your team sits atop the East. But if we were talking about the play-in, it would be Raptors versus Nets, and then Hornets versus Hawks. those two matchups, what are your picks?
All right, repeat that again. I was pulling it up on my laptop.
I was too. I had it like in mind because I did run it in 2K for fun. But
Yeah.
Raptors, Nets,
Right.
and Hornets, Hawks. And let me say something. If we're talking about Nets, it was the Nets were informed today that Kyrie Irving can play in every game. So act like Kyrie would be in that game as well. Ben Simmons is not playing. Seth Curry is. Andre Drummond is. So if you hadn't been paying attention to Nets basketball, those guys are in. Ben Simmons is not. So if Raptors Nets happen today, who's your pick?
The Nets. I mean, I honestly, with Kyrie back, obviously I think the Nets can be a great team if healthy, even better. It just sucks that they're in a slump right now.
Kevin Durant,
for them,
sure.
not me, obviously, but for the Nets, it's obviously not great that they're injured.
And you need Kevin Durant, and I feel like the Raptors, even without Kevin Durant, the Nets would probably beat the Raptors in my humble opinion, because you look at the Raptors team, it's kind of a shock that they're seventh in the East because their team is so young and inexperienced. I mean, it goes to show how good Scotty Barnes really is for his team and how valuable he really is to his team. But they still are inexperienced. Their most experienced veteran, who was an All-Star, Fred VanVleet, is definitely carrying the team, and Siakam's playing well as well. But, like I said, a lot of young talent who hasn't had a lot of that playoff experience. Now, Hornets Hawks is honestly an easy pick for me. I don't know about you, but it's an easy pick for me, and that's the Hawks. I mean, they've got, like I said, playoff experience last season. And experience definitely counts, especially for those teams. The Hornets have none. I mean, they've been like historically poverty, so like they have no really any playoff experience for any of those starting guys. So I would definitely take the Hawks there. And then if we travel up to the top of the East, you've got the Heat versus the Celtics, the Bulls versus the Bucks, and the Sixers versus the Cavs. So let's go ahead and start with in my opinion, the most intriguing matchup, which is the Bulls and Bucks. And Ryan, I'll hand the floor to you because obviously the Bulls are your team. So if this were to happen today, take into account the roster as it is right now, healthy or not. At this very moment, Bulls or Bucks?
Right now, I'd have to say the Bucks, but there's a game coming up, I think, some point this week or next week where we play the Bucks. So that'll be interesting. But a healthy Bucks team will beat a depleted 3-starter down Bulls team any day of the week. Come playoff time, if everyone's healthy, I think it can be a more competitive series, 5, 6, 7 games.
I agree. And I'll take you to one more intriguing matchup as well, the Sixers and the Cavs. You look at the Cavs and how they've performed so well this season. First, I want to ask you a question, and you can kind of tell me with what knowledge you do know. Why have the Cavs been so good this season? Like, why? What is getting them to this point?
Not going to lie to you.
Okay, I'll answer the question.
No clue.
I think the reason the Cavs are so good, it really goes down to Evan Mobley and Darius Garland playing out of his freaking mind. Jarrett Allen was always a superstar. But that potential had to be unlocked on a team where he was getting board after board after board. Because you look at the Nets, where he was, spent his previous seasons, where, defense and rebounding was definitely a necessity. So he wasn't scoring like he is now. He was getting those boards. He was playing some defense. And trading him off, I believe, was an awful move for the Nets. And the Nets are still suffering from that. I don't know why the Nets have such, I can't say on the podcast, but they're very headstrong. I'll say that. I don't know why they're always so adamant about making trades, but they do it and then they always fail. So, anyway, with that being said, I think the Cavaliers' success really comes from those three guys. Darius Garland, who is a blooming superstar and is absolutely fit for that one role, as well as Evan Mobley, who is one of the most versatile players I've ever seen, and Jarrett Allen, who's a certified board getter. He's a nightly double-double, and that combination. I was talking about the Raptors being a young team with inexperience. Well, so are the Cavs, but I honestly think the Cavs could have a shot against this. Actually, now that I look at it, I think we messed up the playoffs a little bit here. Great. We messed off the playoffs a little bit.
Not surprised.
But that's still, I mean, the point is still to be made, in my opinion, that the Cavs can go up against anyone and put up a fight. More so than the Raptors. The point that I'm trying to get across here is that you got two really young teams, and I think the Cavs are the better of the two. And I think that they're winning, games, and it's not a fluke. It's like they have a really solid team, and they're really finding out what roster or what starting lineup gels together. Now, let me kind of re-walk you through the actual playoff matchups. Now, if the Hawks were to win that game, then they would go on to play the winner of the Raptors or Nets, and the Hornets would be eliminated. Or they would play the winner of the winner of the Raptors and Nets, which we said was the Nets. The Nets would move on into the playoffs automatically. They would be the 7th seed, and the Raptors would play the Hawks. And obviously, I think the Hawks would take that game as well. So if we're speaking on that, the Bulls would end up playing the Nets, and the Heat would play the Raptors. The Hawks. Okay, let's go over to the West, where we've got a little bit more of a. I feel like the East is a mixed bag, while the West is kind of more of a set in stone thing. So let's talk about the Lakers. Like, why are they bad? Why are they bad? I know that. Oops.
Nice. Good job.
Look, I know my answer to why, but Ryan, I want to hear your answer because it's funny. No, I'm just kidding. I really want to hear. I really want to hear your answer. I really do,
right,
because it's really a valid question, and people have different various takes on it. So go ahead.
Dude, put me on the
What?
spot.
Yes, I am. You should be able to answer a question about the Lakers.
He just gets up and walks out.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right, bye guys.
I dare you.
I don't know, man. Let's see. Give me a second. Gonna have to research. Drew,
Okay.
you talk for a minute.
Do you want?
Give me my answer in a
Okay.
second.
Okay. The reason that I think we are exposing Ryan's NBA lack of knowledge. Just okay, guys.
Okay.
Like, Ryan doesn't know. Ryan needs to do his research. Okay. Y'all throw hate comments at him. Y'all throw hate comments at him. Anyway, I think the reason the Lakers are so bad is because during the summer when they traded for Russell Westbrook, I was like, what? And then now I'm still like, what? Look, don't get me wrong. I was having this conversation the other day. Russell Westbrook is still a top 50 player ever. And if anyone wants to debate me on that, come and see me, because I think he is still an incredible player. But he is in the twilight of his career, and he just doesn't fit in this team. He has to be the GOAT. He has to be he has to be the guy that drives the paint, scores points, gets boards, gets his teammates involved. He has to be the guy running the show, and I feel like in LA, LeBron runs the show. So I feel like that is the reason that the Lakers are bad and why Russ is playing so bad. But I also think that there's so much pressure that's put on him, and if you really look at his numbers, they're actually not that different from what they were last year. It's just because there's so much pressure put on him and so many people paying attention to his mistakes that he's just getting such scrutiny. And I think that the 2K's 79 overall rating, I don't know if you guys saw that, is so just freaking disrespectful. Ryan, what are you typing in the Discord chat right now? Oh my god.
Nothing.
Russell Westbrook would like to hear that.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
but I'm being go look up. Guys, let's talk about Russell Westbrook's numbers. Okay, I'm gonna pull up Russell Westbrook's numbers right now, and I'm gonna
Let me
talk about.
Let me talk.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me talk.
Go ahead.
All right. So, another thing I was looking up is the NBA remaining strength of schedule, and the Lakers are on top of that list. Well, not on top, Milwaukee and Chicago.
They have the
are first
highest,
and second,
yes.
but yeah, they're third highest with 24 games left. They play the Suns twice, the Warriors twice, Sixers, the Mavs twice, the Cavs once, and then the Jazz once. It's easy to see them just slipping out and not even making the play-in, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
honestly.
the play-in for the West is very weak. None of the teams that come out of that are going to do anything in the playoffs. Minnesota's not going to do anything in the playoffs. As much as I like their team, as much as I like those three guys, it's a lot like the Raptors. They have no experience whatsoever. And I don't feel like that team is like gelled enough as a whole yet to be a consistent threat in the playoffs. The Clippers are just too injured. If Paul George is in, maybe they're a contender, but even that, missing Kawhi is just so, vital to the team that I don't see them making any headway in the playoffs. The Lakers, obviously, we talked about that already. And then the Trailblazers, same thing with like the Clippers. They're awful without Damian Lillard. It might in fact be worse than the Timberwolves. So, and then some teams that could sneak into the play-in, the Spurs and the Pelicans. The Pelicans I could see seriously making a run for the play-in, but again, in terms of the play-in, their players just can't stay healthy to save their lives. So, and they have like not a lot of depth though. So I don't think that. And then the Spurs, if they made it in the play-in, they literally would get destroyed in every facet because their roster. I don't know how they're not at the bottom of the West. They have a bunch of young dudes. DeJounte Murray's a stud. Everyone else is a youngin' who's learning what they're doing, and with that, there's definitely a learning curve. But when you have Greg Popovich as a coach, you're always going to be in contention. But back to Russell Westbrook, because I really want to talk about this. He's averaging 18 points this season, which by no means is bad. I mean, it's obviously not what he did before. It's one of the lowest of his career. But he's averaging less turnovers than he did in the past in the past 7 seasons. And on top of that, he's still averaging 18, 8, and 8. So he's still averaging 8 assists and 8 boards per game. And on top of that, his efficiency barely went down from last year. His 3-point percentage went a little bit down, but he's not a good 3-point shooter. That's not what he's known for. His efficiency's gone down, but only slightly, and so have his minutes. So if you really look at it, last year people were saying, oh, Russ is, the second half of the season he was great. And I really think that he's not the problem in LA, and I feel like he's being the scapegoat and he's being blamed for it, if that makes any sense. I really think that he's not the issue. It's rather the roster, and if LeBron was gone from that team, they would automatically be poverty. What are you saying, bro?
It's beautiful. What?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about, man?
For those of y'all that don't know, Ryan just sent that GIF, or a GIF, of Russell Westbrook.
It's GIF.
It's GIF.
GIF.
Okay?
It's GIF.
Shut up.
Ethan,
It's GIF.
Where you at?
I usually say GIF. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna walk out. I'm gonna walk out right now.
I say GIF. I say GIF for the peanut butter.
I'm gonna walk out right now.
Exactly.
Y'all are terrible. But back to my point. Stop. Back to my point about Russ. He's not the problem. Okay. Anyways, what do you guys think about that? Because you let me run my. Did y'all even listen to me? Y'all didn't even listen to my Russ spiel, man.
No, that's not true.
Listen,
I was just gonna let Ryan go first.
Ryan, go.
I'm not gonna lie.
What do
You gotta put that. You gotta put that in the bottom. Yeah, the GIF.
Dude.
It's a GIF, bro.
It's a GIF. Actually.
It's a GIF.
No, it's not. Okay.
What is a GIF, Drew?
It's a GIF. What do you mean? What is it?
Why we gotta talk about Russell Westbrook?
Because it's important.
I guess so.
Okay, dude was averaging 32 points.
I'm not gonna lie. Listen. You're sounding a lot like my teachers right now, and it's hard to pay attention. boring me.
Bro, that's what Caitlin says. She says I lecture her about sports. That's
Okay, hang on. You said what? He's averaging 18, 8, and 8? See, I was listening.
He's averaging 18, 8, and 8, less turnovers than before, on about the same efficiency. So, like, what's the difference between this year and last year? The assists and rebounds?
I don't know.
He
maybe
willed
there was,
he willed the Washington Wizards into the playoffs last season.
just be chemistry with his new team. LeBron obviously thinks he's all that.
Well,
but
it could be, but he is averaging a whole 4 points less, and that's actually, it actually is like that is a good amount, obviously, but I guess it could be chemistry to an extent. But then you also look at the Lakers roster. They have a roster problem. They have like no depth at all. The guys coming off the bench, no shooting. They can't make a three to save their life. LeBron's not a good 3-point shooter. He's just clutch. You know what I mean? It's just
not good.
Yeah. What, Russ?
No, LeBron.
LeBron, yeah, Leaf Rod.
I could say like another problem
Leaf fraudulent.
could just be like there was a bunch of trade rumors that they were gonna get rid of Russell. Hang on.
Well, because he's not playing he's not like a superstar like they thought he'd be. But who couldn't have seen that coming? I mean, I saw the trade and I was like, what? Why would you trade 4 firsts and valuable players for Russell Westbrook at age 33? It just doesn't make any sense. And you already have LeBron, who probably basically runs the point already. And in addition to that, Anthony Davis. So you already have 2 dudes who aren't very good at shooting. And then you come in and you trade away the pieces that could shoot. KCP. Trez Harrell, that's a very good, role player and piece to have coming off the bench. And then Kyle Kuzma. Like, memes aside, he's a solid role player. And for first-round picks that will probably be, honestly, next year lottery picks, especially if LeBron's not there. So, you know what I mean?
I get you. I think
Ryan's
that,
not listening to me.
when it comes to
I am
like
listening.
Russell Westbrook, he's just one of those players that, like you said, he has to run his team, and the players under him have to either be I'd say of his caliber or lower than him for
Right.
it to work out. I just don't. The whole, I don't know. And every miss he has, you see all the sports pages posting terrible misses. He has had some pretty bad ones. I'm not.
He has, but who doesn't? I mean, people have
exactly.
had, and on top of that, the problem with him is there's a complex because, like you and I said, he has to be the guy running the show, and getting his teammates involved, and getting those boards, and getting involved in the game in all its facets. But on top of that, he's at a point in his career where his talents are dwindling a little bit because he's getting older. He's 33, and so it's hard for him to be that guy. So it's kind of a complex, and it's kind of an issue where it's like, on the one hand you got this, and on the other you got this. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And that's how I feel. I think the Lakers are the most. I wouldn't even call them disappointing because who couldn't have seen this coming? But they're the most underperforming solid team in the league.
No.
One thing I
100%.
did want to say was I don't know. I was just thinking about this. I guess you can say he's like a Mac Jones because he's like a system quarterback, but in the NBA.
For sure, and he
You've
does
got
it
to
with
build
the
around
Lakers.
him, give him what he needs to succeed.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why he works so. That's why he works so well in OKC. He had, in his MVP season, he had Oladipo and I don't think Paul George was there quite yet, but he had a lot of guys who were able to. Domantas Sabonis was there, in his Cantor, in his Freedom, excuse me. Steven Adams was there. A lot of guys who he was able to outlet through, especially Steven Adams. Steven Adams was is the dream player for Russ because he's just able to do all the dirty work that Russ doesn't have to do. And like I said, Russ is the guy who needs to run the offense, and he needs to have those guys around him that are able to basically Steven Adams is the perfect role player.
Yeah.
And in 2016 or 17 or 16, 17, I guess, however you want to put it, he won MVP. And you wonder why. Because he had those guys around him that played really good defense, and on top of that, were able to create. He was probably able to create shots with Victor Oladipo, who's a decent three-point shooter. Doug McDermott's a good three-point shooter. A lot of these guys, Jeremy Grant, who obviously probably wasn't what he is now back then because he's improved a lot. Just a lot of guys, though, that were solid around him, but weren't superstars necessarily and didn't need to take the spotlight.
Yeah.
And that's why he was able to succeed so well. And let me tell you, I didn't really know this, but during his MVP season, Russ was averaging 32 points.
Wow, that is
32 points. Granted, his efficiency was it was okay. He's 45% efficiency, or 48, 47, 4.476. But I mean, that dude was making highlight reel dunks and stuff. It was crazy. Little did I know, I did not know we would have a segment of me spieling about Russ today. It's kind of crazy, but whatever. This is I like this better. This format is better because I feel like it gives us a lot more room to kind of be creative and just get into our own segments. I didn't write any of this really. I wrote the rough outline for it, like we talk about the All-Star team. But little did I know that would go to Russell Westbrook. So had a lot of fun today with you guys, and. You have to show the memes, Ethan, on the actual.
Oh yeah.
We got to put some meme clips in there because Ryan's stupid.
They're beautiful.
Also, we need to I know this is at the literal end of the video, but what's that?
You can cut it up and put it at the beginning.
Oh no, I'm just I'm stuttering here, but maybe introduce ourselves, because I mean obviously everyone who's watching right now probably knows. I'm Ethan. I'm the editor. I get just the guy who's controlling all the socials and stuff, making the graphics, editing, and all that. And then if you two want to describe what y'all are gonna be doing.
Go ahead, Don.
Oh my gosh.
I'm Drew. Obviously, I am one of the co-hosts of Inside the 20. I usually. I'm the point guard. I'm the point guard of Inside the 20. You're the Steven Adams, okay? And I'm the Russell Westbrook.
Come on, continue.
I am the co-host of Inside the 20. I am the creative director. I come up with kind of what we're going to go over each and every time. I kind of run I flow in the sources, or not the sources, the questions and things like that. And Ryan answers them, or what?
Us too.
And Ryan is stupid. That's all I have.
Ryan's the funny one, guys.
Ryan's not funny. I'm funny. Ryan's not funny. Ryan's not funny.
Ryan is the funny one. All right, my turn. My name's Ryan.
All right. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that should be it, guys.
Ryan's just here. Ryan's just here for me to publicly embarrass him because he doesn't know anything about the NBA.
Nah. All right. My name's Ryan. I'm a junior. He's 2 years older than me. Ethan's a year older than me. And I'm still the funniest one. So
no,
I think that tells you all you need to know. I'm good. I'm done.
Is that it?
Are they gonna stick around? Do we expect them to keep watching the show?
Ryan,
do we expect them to keep watching the show? Person. You're the one that's getting them.
The funniest person. I will keep them in. I'm so funny that I can get people from don't even speak English and they will laugh at our videos because I'm that funny.
No, because you look funny.
Exactly.
That's why they're laughing at you.
Well, who wants to?
All right.
Give an outro.
I'll close it out. All right, guys.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys for watching. Hopefully this was more fun. Trying to get some comedy involved here. I felt like our old podcasts were kind of stale, Ryan. Welcome to Inside 20. Let's do a mock draft today. Anyway, wanted to get some more.
Wait. Hang on. We should do a mock draft next week.
Okay, we'll do a mock draft next week. If you guys want a mock draft, let us know. We'll make a
can
mock
show
draft
it
for
on
you.
the screen.
We can show it on the screen.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do that. We'll show it on the
I'm so
screen.
smart.
We'll do some mock draft. Ryan actually knows stuff about the draft, so we can actually do a segment on that. And so we
Okay.
appreciate you guys for watching. Hopefully, getting some more character and some more color into here was fun. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.